Hola guapas, ¿qué tal? Today I want to talk about my carnivore journey because it's been a doozy, it's been fun, and I want to share it with you. Now, I want to have a disclaimer first of all. I am simply sharing this with you because I have always been somebody who experiments with my body and tries stuff out and then sees how it works for me. Here's why: because we are all different. Our bodies are different, our DNA is different, our life experiences that get us to here are different. And so what works for one won't work for all. And so what I do might not work for you. So I'm not saying that you should do a carnivore diet, but what I am saying is I am doing it and here's what's going on for me. That's it. I just want to share. So my recent update is like, what do I eat in a day being on carnivore? And I stick to grass-fed, grass-finished, that's really important, beef. I happen to have like a local supplier, Meridian Meats here where I live, and they have amazing local grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I was sticking to New York steaks. Technically, I should be eating I can't remember what the other one is called because it has more fat, and that's when you are carnivore, you want the fat. The fat is really important because that's where a ton of the nutrients are, and that's where you get your energy from. But I was having a hard time eating that kind of fat. It was just too much for me. So I would go for a New York steak because it has a little bit less fat, but it's still tasty and good. And then I would do burgers. Like they have the grass-fed, grass-finished beef burger patties. Now, normally, girls, all you have to do is get yourself some lean ground beef. Like, you'd want medium ground beef because the fat is where it's at. But I know me, and I don't want to be making patties from the ground beef because I'm lazy and I just don't like it. So I buy the pre-made patties, and they're just lean ground beef. So if you get your own ground beef, get a medium ground beef, and they have to make it for you because they add extra fat in there. So having said that, that's what I would eat. That's my main source of meat. Every once in a while, I'll have some chicken wings. I have it with the skin on, and I just do it, bake it in the oven with salt. And then at the end, I put it on broil just to get it so crispy. It's so good when you do that. And those are the meats that I'm sticking to. The chicken is just here and there, but my daily is the grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I was having eggs. So basically, for every patty that I have 2 eggs. And the way I've been cooking it is with butter in a pan, a steel pan. So I've learned how to cook with a metal pan, so it's not a non-stick pan. So I'm trying to clear all the toxins out of my life and be as clean as possible. I'm not wearing any makeup, like creams are all like 100% natural, just getting rid of all of these gross things that add up, that are toxic in the body over time and over consumption. So I'm using that pan, and I've learned how to make the eggs not stick, and I use butter. I'll tell you a story about that in a second. And so my basically my ratio is 1 patty and 2 eggs, and I'll just do them over easy. So I'll cook them until they're nice and yummy yum. I'll put salt on them, organic sea salt, and then I'll just flip it for a hot second so it's like over easy, so it has a runny yolk. So that's mainly what I've been living off of. And then I added in goji berries because of what I'm working on. Goji berries are so, so good, and they're packed full of nutrients. So I've added those in. Now, here's an interesting thing. I found that my joints stopped aching and hurting. Like when I would wake up in the morning, usually it would take me about 20 minutes to like when I would get out of bed, it would be like ooh, especially after I played tennis. I'm like, why is my body so sore? Especially after I play tennis, when I play tennis every day, like you, because normally back in the day, I would get used to it and my body would adapt to it. And I'd be like, the next day, I'm like, hey, girl, I'm good. Let's go do it again. But as we age, that's just what happens. So I noticed that all those aches and pains in the morning went away. So it just didn't happen. And everything is going well, really, really good. Except I have found that I was low on energy. So this is the one thing that I'm trying to fix. And again, remember, I'm doing this to reduce inflammation in my body. That's specifically why I'm doing it. My body has reshaped itself, so I feel like I've dropped extra weight, and that, you know, when you get into midlife and you got that midlife belly, that went away. I had it for a short period of time, then it went away, but my stomach is a lot flatter. There's no bloating or anything like that. So I kind of like it. And also because I'm lazy and I don't like to cook, if I eat the same thing every day, I'm like, this is so easy because I just barbecue the patties and it's easy to clean up and perfect for a lazy cook like me. So I was quite enjoying it. The only thing that I was struggling with was the lack of energy. Now, I decided to get an IgG test. So it's just an immunoglobulin test to see what is going on in your body when you eat certain foods. So basically, it's a response from your body, and it's like, hey, when you have a big amount show up, it means something's going on, and that can be the signal, not necessarily of like an allergy, but it could be some sort of reaction, meaning, hey, this is triggering for your body, and it's calling in, you know, the cleanup crew and the security system when this food comes in, which will increase inflammation. So in order to do this test, it's a blood test, but you need to have these foods in your system over a period of time, that the foods that they're going to test. And there's 211 foods that they test. So I have been like fully strict, just keeping it to like these butters and eggs and goji berries and beef and a little bit of chicken, like really, really clean with this. But I needed to get other foods in for this test. And you guys, here's what I noticed, and it was absolutely insane. I can't even explain what happened, but I started eating all the foods that were on the test, as many as possible that I normally eat. If I don't normally eat it, I'm not going to test for it, because why? It doesn't make sense. And so I started eating the fruits and the veggies and some rice, oats, like all the foods that I used to live off of. And now I've been avoiding like the plague for a couple of months, like probably 2-3 months. I don't know. I'd have to look at because I write everything down in my book. And so I was going to give myself a couple of days to get these foods in, because you need a couple servings over, you know, like a week or so. So I was trying to narrow it down so I could get back onto my nice, clean, tidy, strict eating. But what I noticed blew my mind. As soon as I started eating the fruits, I started to crave sugar. And since I've been on carnivore, another bonus is I don't crave sugar, and I don't think about eating all the time. Like you can see my videos when I was plant-based. I would go for volume, a volume eater, because I always felt this desire to eat. I always felt hungry. Always felt like I needed to eat more. So with the plant-based, the low fat, it was easy to eat lots because it was really low in calories, even though you don't count calories, right? But you were eating a lot of food. And as soon as I started eating these foods, these fruits especially, because it's a sugar addiction, I felt like I was on crack. I couldn't get enough. I wanted to eat more. All I thought about was eating. I never felt satisfied. And on the carnivore diet, as soon as I eat, I feel full. Like literally, I just can't eat more. Because, you know, it's like, here, have another hamburger. You're like, oh, God, I can't. But if you eat and you're satisfied or you're full, and then you're like, here, have some sugar, have a candy. Of course, you can always get that candy in. It's crazy because there's no nutritional value, but your body just wants more and more and more of that kind of stuff. So I felt like I was a crack addict when I was eating these foods. It just took over. Like I felt obsessed. Like I got to eat more. I want more of this. I never want to stop eating, which blew my mind. It was like the instant I had a certain amount of sugar, but sugar in the form of fruit, like I didn't have any processed sugar at all. I just like became unhinged. It was like something took over my body, and I was obsessed. And that's the sugar addiction. It is so powerful. It just kind of hijacks all of your sensibility, your dopamine, all of it. It just hijacks it. And then you're like, good luck, just fasten your seatbelt and hold on for the ride. Luckily, I was just giving myself a couple of days to do this. And then at the end of it, I felt like I had to detox again. Like I had to go into rehab and be like, I need to get off this stuff. So that was really the craziest experience that I wanted to share with you, like how powerful that is. And you never know that when that's your everyday real experience, your lived experience, that just becomes normal, which is really crazy. And I also notice when you become super clean with your eating, you notice the foods that might not be the best for you. For example, when I really cleaned it up and I was just doing eggs, butter, and because I needed the fats, I needed to get high fats in there. I noticed too much fats. It sat here in my gut, and I had trouble digesting it. So it was not. It was too much for me, so I lowered it. I was eating butter before, and then I stopped eating butter. And then I also noticed that I'm lactose intolerant, which I never knew before because I never really ate dairy being plant-based, but because I was eating butter, a ton of butter, and some cheese and that kind of stuff, it just wrecked my stomach. But because it was so clean, because my food was so clean, it was a case of you eat the food and then instantly you notice, oh my gosh, my body does not like this. So that's really good feedback. Sometimes it could take a while because your body is fighting so many things that it can't give you that direct feedback when so much is going on. But this was like instantaneous. So I changed from butter to goat butter because it has the A2 protein. It's easier for our bodies to digest. And I actually like the taste of it. And so I went with goat butter instead. Now, flash forward to me getting the results of my test once I recovered from having those foods. I'm telling you, the thing that got me the most was I got dried mango, just mango and dried, so there's nothing else in it. And because I wanted to test mango and I didn't feel like buying or eating a mango, so I got dried mango. And I got a bag from Costco and I couldn't stop eating it. It felt like crack, like I could not stop myself. So anyway, so I got the results of the test. And it's fascinating because it tells you like red, like these ones you should avoid. There's a huge IgG response to these foods. And then you got the yellows, which are like maybe sometimes, but beware. And the greens are like, go for it, girl, like not a problem. And one of the number one things on that list was eggs. Eggs, like the things I've been eating 4 to 6 a day. Because the eggs are packed full of nutrients, don't get me wrong. Eggs are a superfood. Like they've got everything that you need. They're so good for you. But for me specifically, this test tells me that there's a ton of IgG antibodies when you test eggs. Now, egg whites are higher, and then egg yolks are still lower, but they're still in the red. Both of those are in the red. So that means that half of my diet, like half of my food supply, is out the window. I'm not going to eat those anymore because I want to see if I can reduce inflammation by eliminating those. Because if you can see that there's a reaction to a high reaction to it, and then you eat it, your body is going to become inflamed trying to fight it. So I would get rid of those. Now, the interesting thing, what I find is fascinating, is that beef came up in the red too. And I'm like, damn, that's what I've been living off of. And now the thing is, we don't know what kind of beef it was, because when I'm eating beef, it's like grass-fed, grass-finished, top of the line, like really well cared for, well taken care of, high quality beef. So we don't know what kind of beef was tested, because my older son, who's a carnivore, is like, I don't know if that's very accurate. But my other son, my younger son, also got this test done because he had eczema. And what came back high for him was egg whites, but not egg yolks. But beef was fine. So we do have like some interesting things to refer back to, meaning sometimes with the IgG test, if you eat a lot of a certain food, the IgG might be high just because you're eating a lot of that food. And I was eating a lot of beef and a lot of eggs. But, when we look at Santos's test, all he was eating was ground beef and eggs as well. And his beef was low. His beef was green. It was totally fine. And he was eating a ton of it. So that's a really good controller for us, being like, he was eating a ton of it and it didn't raise it, like there's an irritation there. So there's something there for the beef. Now it's in the red, but it's like just in the red. It's not super in the red like the egg whites. But now when I look at this, I'm like, okay, I want to refocus what I'm doing. So now I have to take eggs out just to test it. Take eggs out for a month and see what happens, right? That's how we do. This is how we do. Because if you don't get tests like this, you're guessing a lot and it takes a long time to kind of narrow it down. But now that we've narrowed it down, I take the eggs out and then I'll stick with the beef. And then now I need more calories because just eating beef doesn't really work for me mentally and to get me to my caloric intake, because I need to make sure that I'm getting enough food. Seriously, because before I would just overeat, love eating, and now I'm like, oh gosh, I need to eat more food to get more calories. It's a total shift in mindset around food and feeling satiated. It's just, you're always feeling satisfied when you're eating carnivore. So what I added in then is cheese. And you're like, but Heather, I thought you were lactose intolerant. Yes, good point. You've been listening and I appreciate that. Yeah, lactose intolerant, but you know what? What doesn't come up on the IgG test? Goat cheese. Goat cheese is full on green light because it's different. Like I said, it's the A2 protein and it's a different animal and it has a totally different makeup. So for me, I'll add in, okay, Superstore has really good organic sections and you can find goat cheese brie there, which is what? So because sometimes goat cheese can be a lot, but when you have a brie, it's like, oh, it's the creamiest of goat cheese. So I've added in goat cheese. So I'm having my patties, my grass-fed, grass-finished burgers, and goat cheese. And then I've also added in avocado, like just, I get the pre-mashed avocado with cilantro on that's already made, because when I buy avocados, they just have been so horrible lately. I buy a whole bag and they don't ripen, they stay hard, or it's infuriating. And I know you know what I'm talking about, right? So I buy the pre-made. So I'm doing avocados and goji berries. So that is my go-to. And of course, electrolytes. I'm doing a ton of electrolytes. Oh, here's one. I was trying to work on, why my energy wasn't good when I was doing carnivore, and I was in this group. If you're doing carnivore, follow the Steak and Butter gal. She's so lovely. I was in her group and I was asking some of the experts, like, hey, why am I so low on energy? And they said, sometimes it's the electrolytes, meaning you need your electrolytes, but sometimes they throw a wrench into your plan. So try super high salt, but stop the electrolytes for a while. So I did that, and I just added sea salt, organic sea salt, to my water, and I would get the worst leg cramps at night. I'm telling you, like, I thought I was dying. I would scream in the middle of the night, and they'd last for 20 minutes, and I couldn't straighten my foot. You know what I'm talking about. But they were like so painful, and so that wasn't working for me. So I went back to my electrolytes, trying to balance that out. But that's how I learn, right? I learn, okay, I need those electrolytes. And that was a fun story. Like, that was a lived experience where it's like, I need my sleep. And that was so painful. It's funny because I'm screaming and I'm trying to stand on my foot and it won't stand. And my mom told me, pinch here, pinch the top lip if you have a leg cramp, and all these fun things. And it's like in the middle of the night, I'm rolling around going, oh my God, I'm dying, pinching my middle lip. And it must have been funny to watch, but it was not funny to experience. So this is where I'm at in my journey now. I'm making, because I got my IgG results back, I've made these few tweaks, and then I'm just going to do this for 30 days and see what I notice. And then from there, depending on what the results are, I'll tweak a little bit and then I'll move forward from there. But I just wanted to share. And again, like, I'm not saying this, that you should go on a carnivore diet, but I am just giving you my experience as a midlife woman. And I really like it. Once I can dial in that energy part, I really quite like it. And it's working well for me. So far a thumbs up. But again, it's a work in progress. And stay tuned, and I'll share my update, my food update in a couple months after I've experienced it for a while. So I hope that this helps you. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.